Welcome everybody. We have got an amazing candidate AMA for you today. We are joined here by Zeeshan from Texas's.
Nope.
Nope.
Sorry, it is Zeeshan. My bad. You said
You,
Z. Oh my god, my brain is so cooked. I'm so cooked.
Je-
It's over for me. Ah.
Jenny. How many meetings have you
Benjamin,
had today?
I've had two. I've had two meetings today. You've had more than that, I know, but I've had
What?
two.
So you have no excuse. I've been in meetings since 11 a. Well,
Uh,
thank you so much for joining us, Zeeshan. We're so excited to be talking to you.
yeah,
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah.
Well, it is
Who are
a
you? What's your
true
deal?
My deal is saving the American democracy. Our country is under threat. Donald Trump has trying to do an authoritarian takeover of our country. He is a tyrant. He is committing treason on our country on a daily basis. And we need people of courage, people of conscience to step up against him all across the country. And that's why I'm going to be part of a national progressive movement, the same movement that you all are fighting the very good fight on to save our country from its authoritarian decline. So that's why I'm running.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been really looking forward to this. We saw recently that you posted a video
Took the
where
PV
you took the
pledge.
PV
Yeah.
pledge, and best video so far of any candidate. So I guess to start us off, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the PV pledge and anything that you really liked about it.
I wish I had seen that pledge earlier. I'll be honest with you, because that is an amazing pledge. I think it's amazing that you're getting people to sign on to it. I know you only require candidates to sign on to 8 of the 10, but I think you should require them to sign on to all 10 of the 10. I'm ready to sign on to all 10 of the 10. The only mistake I made was that we printed up all these palm cards that have a $20 living wage on them, and I wish I had read about the $25 wage before that, and I could have easily put 25. So we will hopefully fix that in the future. But I'm very excited about the Progressive Victory Pledge because I think it sets the stage for what our national movement's going to be about. We need to actually hold people accountable to the dollar amounts. I'm thinking dollar amounts for the minimum wage, to the actual policies that are going to be part of this progressive agenda. I think the thing that differentiates us from, the moderate, centrist, corporatist Democrats is that they don't even like to talk about the issues, and we are focusing completely on the issues. And I love everything about the pledge. My video, if you want to check it out, you can follow us on any social media channel at Zeeshan for Texas is our handle. We're on basically everything. We're even on Upscrolled, which we just joined. You can watch our
Yeah.
video where we talk about ice because just recently Dallas had a massive snowstorm, and so we decided to do a little
Oh.
play off of that, and the fact that we in Dallas don't need ice, but there are things much worse, more chilling than the ice outside, which is our ice agents that are causing so much.
Yeah, you're lagging out a little bit, Zeeshan. So we caught most of that, but it's okay. Benjamin is also we've been having audio issues the whole time we've been getting set up, so Benjamin is unfortunately unable to be heard. But in the meantime, we have many questions for you, Zeeshan. We have many questions. We want to crack open your head like an egg and see all the various progressivisms that lie within. So before we let's get into it. Uh, so you're running in Texas 33rd, Texas District 33. What you have two main opponents. Remind me of their names again.
I'm running against Julie Johnson and Colin Allred. Both of them are corporatist, establishment Democrats. Both of them received a combined $700,000 from AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby. Both of them are on the same wrong side of history. Both of them have said things like it's time to reform and fix ICE, when we all know that ICE is based off of white supremacy and cannot be fixed and must not only be abolished, but must be prosecuted from each individual agent that has committed brutal crimes against the American people, but all the way to the top with Kristi Noem and Galvino and Trump and all the others who need to be impeached.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I want to ask you. So we have those two people. Obviously, not great. They're not in. They're not in favor of ICE abolishment, and maybe not even reform. They're also both APAC funded, which is not great. But when we were trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff about you, we couldn't find any polling with your name on it. With that in mind, you have two opponents who are clearly like not great, but you have a progressive platform and you signed on to our progressive platform, which is how we know it's good. But what's your path to victory here? Because it doesn't really seem like there's. I mean, it seems like you got a good thing going on, but like, how are you going to take this?
Great question. It's a question I get asked every day. I've been asked this question 3 different times today at different events I'm
Really?
at. So hopefully I'll have a good answer for you. Well, first, there's a few things that you need to know about the race. First off, this
Mhm.
is if not the lowest turnout district primary in the country, it is the lowest district primary. So a
Mm.
total turnout in the Democratic primary in 2024 was 22,000 votes. 22,000 votes elected the next congressperson from District 33. 2022 was only 24,000
Jeez.
votes. This is an extremely, extremely low turnout race. Now, the reason why that is because over the past however many years, the people that are not voting had no interest in voting. The average age in this district is 32 years old. 32 years old. What matters to 32-year-olds? Well, unfortunately, they haven't been voting because they've never been motivated to run. There's never been a progressive that's run in the history of District 33. I know Justice Democrats and other organizations like your own probably have been trying to recruit people to go run in District 33, but no one has. And then we talk about the anti-war majority. And as I go around the district, people are against war in the military-industrial complex. Unfortunately, my opponents have taken money and support from not only AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby, but the military-industrial complex within our country itself. And that's why they continue to support the policy of forever wars and endless wars. I think on top of that, we have one of the most diverse districts in the country. It is 78% minority majority. 55% of the district is Hispanic. In the past, the person who was the congressman from this district didn't have any of his materials or his website in Spanish. If you look at our materials, every one of our pamphlets, you can see some of the issues that are on
Oh.
here. It's in English and in Spanish. Everything that we do is in English and Spanish. And we're doing a
Okay.
lot of outreach. Julio, who may or may not have finally made it into Discord, and a member of my team, are representative of the great diversity that is our district. There's a large African American population. It's almost 10% Asian. There's a large population of immigrants, people that are from the Muslim community. Many different communities make up one of the most diverse districts in the country. So because of the fact that there's such a low turnout, we can really go through and make it past this election. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that Texas is a majority primary win state, meaning you have to receive 50% more of the votes to win the primary. Now, if you don't get to 50% or more, it goes to a runoff. So we only have to be in the top 2. And the reality is that Colin and Julie are not going after the same voter universe that I'm going after. I'm expanding the universe, expanding the electorate, and going after the voters who are disaffected, disillusioned, and have never been involved until most recently. And
Okay.
we just saw what happened with Christian McAfee just now in Texas, what happened yesterday. We saw what happened in the November elections with Zoran and others who were supported by the DSA and other like-minded organizations. This is a time for the progressive blue wave to happen. And what better place than in a plus 32 Democratic district, a district where Kamala Harris won by 32 points. Extremely low turnout. And by the way, the last thing I'll say is this about resources. When AOC won her race against Crowley, who was the number 3 most powerful congressman in all of Congress with the most amount of money, most amount of resources, she had less money than we had, and she ran the same people-powered movement that we're trying to run. And she was able to defeat someone who had way more resources than a one-term congressperson and someone who had just lost a Senate primary. So I think that, yes, Colin and Julie have a lot of name recognition, and they haven't even done a poll that includes my name in it, but that's fine with me. We're going to fly right under the radar, and we're focusing all of our resources on fields and a true people-powered movement, because that is how progressives win. And the last thing I'll say is this. Go to their websites right now, colinallred.com, juliejohnson.com. It's very rare that a candidate
It's
will
not
say, hey, go to
great.
my opponent's website.
Yeah, they're
There's
not great
nothing on there.
websites.
There's nothing on there. It's just
Mhm.
contribution forms. Like if you're on a mobile site, Julie has a page that says fact checker. It doesn't work because there's no facts for her to check because she has no issues on her page. Colin and Julie refused to talk about the issues. We had a candidate forum yesterday where they didn't even show up. They refused to talk about the issues. They are afraid to show up and just talk to the voters about the issues. They talk in
Yeah.
platitudes and
Tell
stories.
me
They don't
tell me
talk
more
about
about
the
that
issues.
candidate forum. That sounds insane.
Yeah, so this was actually it was on the website of the Dallas County Democratic Party for a long time. We had people from all over the community come. This was a well-known, and by the way, the forum was moved to the 31st because Julie Johnson's team had asked to move the forum, and everyone else, because she's the congresswoman, we had to move the date of the forum. We had to all accommodate her schedule, and then a day before the actual event, she called and canceled. And then when she canceled, Colin canceled, because if Julie's not there, Colin has no need to be there. And so then it was just, myself and the fourth candidates in this race. And it was no conversation. We did talk about the issues. And the fact is, the people saw that these two people refused to meet with the people and talk about the issues that matter to District 33 and the issues that matter to the American people. Our American democracy is under attack, and we have no one that's willing to stand up for the progressive values that you all are doing the amazing fight to fight for.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's actually unhinged. I can't believe they would just turn down free media
Oh, I can
appearances.
believe it.
If
I
their
can
if
believe
their
it.
main opponent cancels and then they cancel in response, that's actually unhinged.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
can
Well, they
believe
both
it.
have been receiving.
Oh my
Go ahead.
God, I hate Democrats.
Well, I will say that it is very hard, and I will say this: about 10 years ago, you can actually go to my Facebook page at Zeeshan for Texas, and you can see what I posted about 10 years ago. Because that page, I ran for office about 16 years ago or 17 years ago, and I kept the page alive, and it only came back to life in 2015. And you will all remember what happened in 2015. It was a real promising moment for me. It reawakened me in many ways when Bernie Sanders first ran for president. And that really was an exciting time for me. And I wrote a lot about the issues that he was fighting for then are still issues that I wish people were fighting for today. And I told people I was a disillusioned Democrat in 2015. I've always been a Democrat. I've never supported the Republicans, obviously, but I was disillusioned because of the lack of choices that we had. And we finally had a person who had a true agenda, true policies, a true pathway to improve our country. And unfortunately, the election was stolen from him in 2016. The Democrats establishment did everything they could to take that election from him. And then in 2020, where he could have been a great shining resource for this country, we would still probably have President Sanders right now if that election wasn't stolen from him again. We could
God.
have had a true progress for our country. But unfortunately, the establishment does everything they can to block progress and block progressives. Just like they tried to do everything they could to prevent Zoran Mamdani from winning the New York mayoral election. But luckily for them, the people power overcame the establishment, which till the end would not even endorse a Democrat who won a Democratic primary. That shows you how crooked and how messed up the Democratic Party is. And the last thing I'll say is this: the majority of our establishment Democrats are receiving millions and millions of contributions from AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby. We all know who their masters are. And their masters are foreign interests, corporations, oligarchs, and the billionaires. The only people that I care about, the only interest that I care about is your interest, the interest of the American people.
Yeah, it's really incredible. The it really shows that it's like malicious with the Democratic Party establishment, because when they're fighting a Republican, ah, we're so weak, we can't do anything. But when we're fighting a Democrat, oh, okay, time to get the knives, time to get the bombs, time to get the tanks. All the tools come out. Even now, like I've been watching the news with the Epstein stuff the last few days, and the only news articles I'm seeing is Mamdani's mom named in Epstein files, and it's like, I'm sorry, I feel like there's more accurate coverage of other people you could be doing right now.
Yeah.
There's this guy, he's like in the Epstein files a lot. I think he's in a position of power.
it- yeah,
Uh,
name begins with a D,
a
like a
D.
Donnie or something. But you
Yeah, I don't
mentioned
know.
earlier you ran for office about 16 years ago. Tell us a little bit how you think your district has changed in that time.
Well, back then I ran in a very different district. It was for a state house seat which was a strong Republican seat. It was the exact opposite of what I'm running in right now. It was probably a plus 32 Republican seat at the time, and I was running against the son of the sheriff, who had a lot of name recognition because his dad had the same last name as he did, and I was running right after Obama had gotten elected. Now, 2008 was when Obama won, and then we all know what happened after Obama won in 2010. There was a massive red wave that was across this country. And we saw the extreme right wing of the Republican Party win a lot of seats. We're going to see the exact opposite of that this year because of people like you. organizations like Progressive Win, because you guys are going to help us lead a progressive blue wave across the country to respond to this existential threat to the anti-American democracy, which is Donald Trump and the extreme right wing of the Republican Party. So there is a big difference between the race I ran then and when I run now. And the other thing I'll mention is, before we entered the race, we looked and we did a very deep viability study. Can we win? How do we get to a path to victory? Is this a realistic race? And when we did all the data and we looked at the numbers and we understood the demographics and the history of voting patterns in this district, we saw this is a winnable race. And not only that, because it is such a strong blue district and with so low turnout, this is a big pickup for the progressives. People always talk about, hey, this is a pickup seat for the Democrats. We can pick up a seat here, we can pick up a seat there. How important is it for us to pick up a Democratic seat if it's some establishment centrist Democrat who is picking it up versus
Exactly.
a true blue progressive who's actually going to fight for issues that matter instead of supporting the same oligarchs and politicians? We have in this country today, I think we have a center right party and an extreme right wing party. And then we have progressives that in other countries probably would have been parts of different parties. But we have a duty as progressives to move the Democratic Party to where it should be, which is to the progressive side. And I think that the people on this call today, people that are participating in this organization, these are the people that are the true patriots of this country, the true people that are going to save the American democracy and fight for what's right.
Don't pat yourself too much on the back there, Jenny. I saw that little maneuver there.
He said thank you. I didn't want to interrupt him. Okay.
Well, I don't think not to take all the credit for ourselves. I don't think it's just orgs like ours right now, too. I think it's a big part of it, but I also think the candidates right now, there's many more progressives running, but they're also doing a lot better job talking to get like
harnessing media,
working together, harnessing media, coordinating. If you were to win your office, how would you have a strategy to coordinate with candidates who are already in office or for candidates who are running for office to keep building a progressive power base? Since, as we see right now, we don't really see the squad interacting as much as they used to, or other members of, or other progressives in Congress, really only Ro Khanna.
Yeah, that's what you just mentioned is a great highlight. The fact that we have very few progressives still to this day who came in as progressives and used to be vociferous progressive fighters. A lot of them have started taking money from AIPAC. A lot of them are starting to moderate their stances. It's very sad to me about the future of the progressive movement, but luckily, there are massive amounts of fresh blood of progressives that are coming in together. There's an organization I'm a part of, which is the Courage Candidates. That is a group that's focused on one of the core values of this is to end oligarchy in our country, impeach Donald Trump, stop having corruption. Being anti-ICE and abolishing ICE is one of the principles of this organization. But we have hundreds of candidates running for Congress all across the country that are in a Signal chat together, that are in an Instagram chat together, that have joint events together to address these issues. And we're strategizing together. We're helping each other out. We're amplifying each other's voices. We're providing resources to each other. Not only that, though, but there's organizations like your own that have created a clear and bold vision for us to actually execute once we get to Congress. We can have progressives run all across the country, but without creating a very clear vision for what exactly we plan to fight for, when we get there, there won't be anything to do. You have outlined 10 clear policy planks, true policies that are guided by the progressive cause. If anyone hasn't read this entire pledge, I think it's amazing. I love the Progressive Victory Pledge. I think it's some of the best work that I've seen across anywhere. And it's not just because I'm talking here. I've said the same thing to many other organizations as well, because it's aligned with what we need to save this country. So we need progressives all across the country, and we're seeing it. You know, I'm not a politician. I'm not a career politician. Yes, I ran 17 years ago, but I am not a politician. I'm running against two career politicians. And we're seeing people that are outside of politics that are coming into politics. People like Abdul Saeed in Michigan, Graham Plattner in Maine, people like Shokat Chakrabarti in California, who, by the way, we're working together. I want to mention District 30, which is right next to me. I'm running in District 33 and District 30. There's two Democratic seats that are left that are plus 30 and plus more Democratic. He is a super strong progressive. His name is Reverend Freddie Haynes. He was a former president of the Rainbow Push Coalition. He used to be, he still is Jasmine Crockett's minister, and he's going to be the next congressman from District 30. The only way we're going to have power is if we have multiple progressives all across the country that are aligned on their principles. By the way, me and Reverend Haynes have the same exact policy perspectives on everything, which align completely with this organization.
Very cool. Well, we are finally at the portion of the show where we're going to be bringing up some audience members to ask some questions. For everybody in the audience, if you wish to ask a question, feel free to put it in the chat. If you are a dues-paying member, you will have the opportunity to come up on stage. If you want to come up on stage, please let us know in your message, and we'll bring you on up.
Before we bring up somebody. Jenny,
Yeah,
there is
we'll
one
give
question.
some time for people to get their messages in or get their questions in. Before we do so, I have a very, very serious question for you, Zeeshan.
Please.
Who is your least favorite Republican, and what is the absolute worst thing you can say about them?
Credit to Soy Pill for that question, by the way.
Oh, man. This is hard because there's so many that are like, if I was going to rate them as 1 to 10, 10 being most evil, there's probably about a few hundred that would be 1,000 on that 1 to 10 scale.
They're pretty up there.
I will mention someone that maybe a lot of you have not heard of, because there's obviously, I could talk about Donald Trump, I could
Okay.
talk about Christina, I could talk about all of them. There's someone in Texas that actually represents a district right next to mine that many of you may not have heard of. And this is a story that, I could talk about the average Republican that you all have heard of, Ted Cruz, others that are horrible. But let's talk about someone that you might not have heard of. His name is Congressman Keith Self. He is running from Congressional District 3. He is the congressman, one-term congressman from Congressional District 3. He has attacked my community. You know how there's the Congressional Black Caucus? There is a caucus for progressives, the Congressional Progressive Caucus. There's different caucuses for different issues. A few months ago, he formed an anti-Muslim caucus in Congress.
Did he
And
call it
nobody
that?
did anything. He didn't call. I think it's called like the anti-Sharia Muslim caucus or something. I don't know what the exact terms of the name of the caucus is. You guys can look it up. But it's something around something. I don't know what exactly. But the only people. So at the time it was just him, and people thought, okay, this guy's crazy. He's creating this because no one's ever created a caucus that's like trying to attack a particular faith or something like this. It's the only time I've ever seen it, because we actually did some studies. No one ever had done this before, and we're like, oh, this guy's a Looney Tune. No one's going to pay attention to him. By the way, one thing I will mention to you: when he ran for office, he came to Epic, which is one of the largest Islamic centers in the entire country. The same organization that was trying to build a community for housing around it, and it was blocked by him and Greg Abbott. But the same guy that actually received contributions from the Muslim community, the same guy that was at the mosque trying to get their support, then went to Congress and we gave this vociferous anti-Islamic, Islamophobic speech, basically very similar to Valentina Gomez. Valentina Gomez, I would have said her, but she's just a clown. She's never going to win anything. She's running from District 31. If you want to see a complete clown show, you could look at Valentina Gomez's Twitter. She's always attacking Muslims, immigrants, people of color. She's extremely racist, extremely bigoted. Unfortunately, people like Pierce Morgan have given her a stage to talk. But Keith Self created this anti-Muslim caucus. And then and everyone's like, okay, this guy's crazy. Nobody's going to join this. He got one guy to join, Congressman Roy. Guess where he's from? Texas, another right-wing Republican. And now no one censured him. No one did anything about it. Just a few days ago, 24 Congress people, obviously Republicans, signed on and joined that caucus. And unfortunately, just like the worst viruses that could be out there, the worst, things that are destroying our democracy, more and more of these extreme, bigoted people are joining together. Because today, the best way to win support as a right-wing MAGA Republican is to attack minorities of any kind. And when I say minorities, I mean anyone who is not a extreme white supremacist white male, because there are even progressive white men that are under attack. I mean, aside from women, aside from all the different minority groups that I mentioned earlier, everyone is under attack right now, and it's people like Keith Self that are destroying this nation. And so for that reason, I will propose to you Keith Self, because you might not have heard about him before, and now you know what we're up against. And by the way, the only reason he won was because he had very little money, but the guy that he was running against, the Republican primary, resigned a few days earlier
kidding.
because he had some issue with the same thing that Donald Trump does not have problems with, which is pedophilia, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's not in the. Is that the guy?
pedocon
Is that the
theory
guy who's
alive
in the
and well.
files? That's the guy who's in the files. Yeah, Donald Trump. That was his name.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that guy. Yes. Oh, sorry. It's very
But
sad
yeah,
that we have
you
to laugh about this, but that is the case, unfortunately.
It's
God,
the
yeah,
only way to survive it.
people in our chat did find him. Roy Self launches the Sharia Free America Caucus. Um, so the worst thing that you can say about him is a pretty bad thing. Is he's a racist piece of shit.
Unfortunately, he is a bigot, and that is the sad fact of the matter. And the fact of the matter is, there's too many communities in our country that are now being under attack. My community is under attack by ICE right now. I have a brother in our community named Brother Marwan, who's a very strong activist in the Free Palestine movement, and he was picked up by ICE, and now he was on ICE detention for many months, and now he's been deported out of the country. We have Brother Yaqub. He is a literal political prisoner. The guy is a DACA recipient who, if you haven't looked him up, look up Free Yaqub on Instagram. You can support him. He has been in prison for so long. The only crime that he committed was taking pictures at Palestinian protests. He was one of the leading photojournalists in the Dallas-Fort Worth area promoting the Palestinian cause, not only Dallas-Fort Worth, but all across the country. And then we have people like Brother Maher, another person from my community that has been kidnapped by ICE. He was the sole caretaker of his son, who, by the way, was 30 years old and was suffering from Pompeii disease. It's a horrible disease that's debilitating. And he was a single father. And he was the only person that took care of him for 30 years, because it was a problem that he had since his birth, and he lost his mother early on. And this man who was an amazing member of our community, who had never done anything wrong, but he was literally the sole caretaker of this kid who he helped survive to the age of 30. When he got in prison 2 months ago, while he was in prison, his son's health took a great downturn. He had never lived without his dad. And about a month ago, he went into the hospital ICU, and a few days ago, he passed away. And he passed away because his dad was taken from him by ICE. And we, as a community, have asked for him to at least be able to attend his son's funeral, the son who he took care of for 30 years with this debilitating disease. And this cruel government has refused to allow this father to see his son one more time. So I think the cruelty of what we're dealing with is so horrible. These people don't have the basic conscience and basic integrity that is completely missing from not only political discourse in our country, but missing from the leadership. I wouldn't even call these people leaders. They're politicians that are bought by corporations. And the fact is, one thing to tie this back into my race, the congresswoman who I'm running against, she's actually a member of the Committee on Homeland Security. And she could have done something about ICE when she first joined. She's a vice-ranking member, by the way. But back in March of last year, before abolishing ICE became popular, she, at that time, proposed a piece of legislation that she not co-sponsored. She proposed a piece of legislation that would have not only increased ICE members' benefits, any ICE agent, increasing their benefits. They already make six figures. They're already getting $50,000 signing bonuses. It would have increased their benefits, and on top of that, it would have increased their pay for the next 2 years. She proposed this. At the same time, she approved additional funding for organizations like Palantir to go ahead and spy on us and help ICE. Guess what we just found out? 3 days ago, Texas Tribune reported on this. Julie Johnson made $4.2 million. $4.2 million on congressional stock trading of Palantir stock.
You're
That is
kidding.
just
You're
one.
kidding.
She has made, I believe, $47 million is what the number is in 1 year in Congress.
No wonder she doesn't want to abolish ICE. That's
Well,
where she's getting her fucking money from. Christ.
well, see, that's the interesting part. She, up until recently, she wouldn't even take on Marwan's case. Brother Marwan actually was her constituent, and she refused to do anything about him, even though we made consistent attempts. Recently now, ICE has become this issue that the entire country is against. Now, guess who is the leading opponent in the Democratic Party establishment fighting against ICE? None other than Julie Johnson, who's already made her killings on there, who's already proven herself once again. Unfortunately, we have politicians that go with the wind that could have been on the right side of history from the beginning. If you look at any of our website has had abolish ICE on there from day one. The only thing we changed was we added prosecute before it because of how bad it's gotten recently. Unfortunately, people like her and Colin hasn't even said end ICE. He just wants to reform ICE somehow. Like somehow you could reform the Gestapo or the SS. Like those are not things that are reformed. Those are things that you need to have a Nuremberg trial for and get rid
Yeah.
of this horrible poison that exists in our government. And by the way, there's about a dozen agencies that deal with immigration enforcement, agencies that were around before 9/11 when the horrible ICE was first formed. And so when people say abolish ICE, oh, it's not realistic, and how are you going to do immigration enforcement? Well, reality. Let's look at the facts, people. The facts are that ICE is a new agency. It's the only agency that has no accountability, no transparency, no oversight, no badges, no uniforms, no IDs, unmarked cars, people with masks, literally terrorizing people, killing people on the streets, killing people in their for-profit detention centers, which is where our president is sending hundreds of billions of dollars to help build this horrible private police force for him so he can pass Project 2025, Project Esther, and Project God knows what to destroy our American democracy. And I say enough is enough. Enough of these corporate Democrats who are empowering Donald Trump, who are not doing enough to fight back and only respond when it comes to their own benefit for polls and to get popularity and support when it's election time.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And people forget that ICE only started in 2003 as a response to
Yes.
9/11. And it's like Al Qaeda weren't illegal immigrants; they were terrorists.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
what does that have to do with anything?
Well, I mean,
It's
there's
just,
another thing. Yeah, absolutely. And there's another thing called the Patriot Act, which, by the way, we've
Yep.
had and the Patriot
Yep.
Act
That
on our
whole
page
thing
for a long
too.
time. People don't talk about the Patriot Act. Most people don't even know what the Patriot Act is. And the fact is, Patriot Act, before 9/11, Patriot Act did not exist. It just
Who's
is
Edward
another
Snowden
message.
again? I forgot who Edward
Yeah,
Snowden
right?
is.
Exactly. The problem is most people have a very short attention span in this country, probably because they scroll through, Facebook and Instagram all day and they lose their attention span. But the reality is the Patriot Act has been used to surveil on people for a long time. And now combining the Patriot Act with Palantir and some of these other dark forces of new technology, Muslims, blacks, Hispanics, any progressive activists, left activists, they are being spied on a daily basis without warrants. There's mass surveillance happening in this country, and people have forgotten that it even exists, that it's even happening. After 9/11, every single mosque in America had taps placed on it to go ahead and listen to everything that was happening. And then people were imprisoned and deported and sent to Guantanamo Bay for crimes that they had never committed. And this is still allowed to continue because we have people like Colin Allred and Julie Johnson that haven't done anything to end the Patriot Act. And we need people who have actual spines, actual conscience, and actual integrity to come into Congress that will get rid of this establishment refuse and get some real people into Congress that will fight for the American people.
Absolutely. Well, while we're getting some real people into Congress, we have some real questions from chat.
Yay, let's do it.
excellent.
Citri,
10 out of 10 transition right there.
thank you. I do my best. I am a radio host in my spare time.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, really? You're a radio host. I didn't know that. It's
You
not like
didn't
you
know
talk
that.
about it
That's
all the time.
it's almost like I'm annoying about it. Anyway, Citri, you want to come up and ask a question?
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, can
Introduce
you hear
yourself.
me?
You can.
Yeah.
Hi. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh,
Wa
Zeeshan.
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi barakatuh.
I'm from New York City DSA. Citri from New York City DSA, and I was actually a field lead for Zora Mamdani's campaign. My
Awesome.
question for you is that what is the field operation that your campaign has prepared to counteract the low voting patterns that Texas has? I've done a bit of research in Texas, and Texas, in my eyes, it's not a red state; it's a low voting state, and that includes
Yes,
the district that you're running.
yes, yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your question. Continue.
Of course, that was the question. What's the field
Okay.
operation that you have prepared?
Sister, thank you so much for that question. And part of that field plan is to get you involved in the campaign and get you part of that field strategy. But in seriousness, all of our resources are going into our field operation. Our field director is someone who has been with Indivisible. He was a national field director for Indivisible. He has won successful progressive primary races through field. He did that back in Oklahoma 5 a few years ago. His name is Tasneem. He's an amazing field whiz, and we are putting all of our resources into field. So what are we doing? So our universe is there's about every congressional district in this country is about 800,000 people. Now the average Democratic primary has been around 22 to 24,000 votes. We are going off of a safe estimate. Let's say somehow crazily there's 30,000 total votes. So our win number is 15,000. So we're going after 50,000 people. But our target universe is 30,000 voters that we think are persuadable. What we are doing is we're trying to do a 7-touch campaign on those 30,000 voters. So approximately 210,000 contacts on those voters. We are doing a combination of relational organizing through apps like Reach. I'm sure you all might be familiar with Reach. It's a text
Yep.
messaging platform that allows you to load your contacts and then send a text message very easily from your phone. And that information then goes to our campaign, and we are able to track all these folks. On top of that, we're doing a very extensive canvassing campaign. Our field operations started before either of Colin or Julie's, and we've been focusing all of our energies on going out and talking to the voters. Because the reality is, when we go out there with our palm cards that have all the issues on there, most candidates don't even talk about one issue, much less 10 issues on their palm cards. When we go out there and talk about the issues, the voters start to listen, the voters get persuaded. And then we are doing a very aggressive phone banking campaign as well. Our phone banking campaign has literally been on fire the last 10 days because of the fact that we had a winter storm in Texas and no one's been out, and the touches and the response rate has been at an all-time high. So already we have done, as of today, I think over 160,000 initial touches on that voter universe that we're trying to
Nice.
do. Those are included
That's
attempted
good.
contact through phone, through calls, through texts, through door to door. And on top of that, we're also doing extensive work to continue to build on top of that momentum. But to your point, our entire campaign is built off of a field, relational organizing, getting people out to vote. We're focusing on those communities that I mentioned earlier on the campaign, the global majority, the Muslim population, the minority population, the immigrant population, the Asian population. We have a very strong endorsement from Reverend Haynes, who's running in District 30, another bold progressive who has been a great leader of the African American community, but also a great progressive voice. He's been involved in the anti-war movement for a long time. He is helping us get support from that community specifically. But we're building a coalition: progressives, labor, unions. We got 76% of the vote in the initial labor vote for labor locally. Now, unfortunately, because of Julie Johnson, our statewide endorsement was blocked by the AFL-CIO, but local labor organizations are with us, and we're getting their endorsement as well. Our election is coming up very close. Our early voting starts on February 17th. It goes through February 27th. Early voting is upon us in just about 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks. And our election day is March 3rd. So we are going hard and strong on field operations right now. And if there's anyone on this call that would like to join our field operation in any way, whether it's as a virtual phone banker or if anyone's in Dallas-Fort Worth and wants to get involved, please let us know. I don't know if Julio is in here or not. He is. Oh, no, he's not in here. But I can share his information with everyone that's in the chat.
Brother in Islam, that's the same attitude and operation that got us Zoran, and I wish you the best of luck, inshallah.
Inshallah. And like I said, we'd love to get you involved in some way in the campaign. It'd be amazing. Like I said, our website is zeeshanfortexas.com. That's Zeeshan, and it's FOR, Texas. You can follow us on any social media by using @Zeeshan for Texas. And we always have, you can literally go on our website right now, sign up to get involved. Obviously, you can give your time, talent, or treasure, whether you want to volunteer, if you have a specific talent, you can volunteer your talent. If you want to provide treasure, we can take any amount is helpful. helpful. And you can also reach out to me or my deputy here. Unfortunately, he could not find a way to get into Discord. Discord was not letting him join for whatever reason.
Discord is a funny application sometimes.
It is. It is. And so his email address is Julio, Julio, Julio at ZeeshanForTexas.com. And my own email address is Zeeshan at ZeeshanForTexas.com. And love to get your feedback and ideas and get you involved in this huge victory. Because there's no seat in this country for progressives or anyone else that has such a low turnout, that has such an easy pathway to victory if we have a true people power movement, people get involved. When AOC first won her first race, she was going up against Crowley, who had way more money and resources, and it was a voter turnout which had significantly more voter turnout than my average primary, and she actually raised less money than we already had raised as of last quarter, not even including the money that we raised this month. So we are positioned to redo that. We're not going up against Crowley, who was the third strongest congressman in Congress at the time. He was going to be the Speaker of the House. We're going up against a one-term congresswoman and someone who lost the Senate primary. So I think we have a shot, and we're just going to take people power to beat the establishment forces of millions and millions of dollars of APAC and corporate PAC money.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be
Well,
going to be really interesting. We're going to do what we can to help with that race. But speaking of races that we're trying to help out in, we've got an actual candidate running in Utah, Lewis, who has a question for you.
Thank you very much, Citri, for being on stage. Send you back to the mass of people.
And then we'll bring on Lewis.
In fact, we will. So we got another candidate coming up, named Louis Villarreal. We have candidates talking to candidates. This is crazy.
Hi, Lewis.
Oh, he's muted. He's trying so hard.
Oops, sorry.
There he is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Is it Lewis or Luis?
Luis. Either is fine,
Luis,
though.
that's
I do
Nice to meet you,
not
Luis.
concern myself with the names too much.
all
Pleasure
right.
to meet you.
Wanna get it right.
Wonderful to
Pleasure's
hear
mine.
about your campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Luis Villarreal. I'm a Democratic Socialist and current candidate for Utah's 1st Congressional District. Center point of my campaign, and one of the things that's really important to me are unions. I was raised by a union, and I've been a member of a union myself. It helped me it helped me get health care for my 3-year-old son when he was born, or my now 3-year-old son when he was born. So unions are very important to me, and one of the center focuses for me is passing the PRO Act and it's expanding union protections. I'd like to just hear your thoughts on unions and how they're handled in your race, how they're handled in Texas, and just your insights on what that would look like if we were to work together in Congress to get that done.
Awesome, Luis. Well, first off, thank you again for running. I know how much it takes and how much resources and energy and effort it takes. So thank you so much for running for Congress. I hope that Progressive Victory is supporting you as well. And I hope that you're also a member of the Courage Candidates, Citizens for Impeachment of Donald Trump, and some of the other organizations that are trying to unite like-minded progressives like ourselves to fight for the right side and save America and be on the right side of history. Unions and labor is a core part of my platform. So I encourage you, Luis, and anyone else to visit my website, ZeeshanForTexas.com. And I encourage you all to look at my detailed policies on labors and unions. I actually work directly with a table of labor supporters, labor leaders who have helped me build a platform that is not only fighting for labor rights, but it's starting fights for labor. So what does that mean? So that means obviously passing the PRO Act. I think that's a very fundamental baseline that any Democrat should be able to sign on to. I think we need to end right to work laws. Obviously that goes without saying as well. But I think we need to be a little bit more bolder when it comes to our union and labor support policies. I know one of the other issues is that $25 minimum wage that Progressive Victory is proposing. I think that's great. But what I mean when I say going bolder, I mean, let's say it's time to lower the work week. How about instead of 40 hours a week, it's 30 hours a week? And that doesn't mean that your wages go down. That doesn't mean your pay goes down. But what that means is that now, if you work 40 hours a week, you get 10 hours of overtime. Imagine how transformational that would be for the working class of this country, especially with AI. AI is now, going to require you to take less time. That is the real solution to fighting back against AI, is to provide a lower work week, because the productivity ingrains that are happening. Our people in reality are working harder, and they are, from productivity perspective, because of technology, are producing way more, but they're not making more, and that's the problem that's happening in our country. When I talk about more things that are a bit bolder on the labor and progressive victory agenda, I'm talking about things like actually doing something about when a corporation has its CEO and its executives get these massive payouts where they get massive increases to their pay or massive stock bonuses and all this other stuff. These massive, bonuses come in for the executives of these companies. How about we actually tie that into a required increase for the workers? Because in reality, it wasn't really the CEO that had that much impact. It was the workers that made it happen. And unfortunately, the workers are being exploited in this country, and they're not being paid their fair share. And so that's something that needs to be done. And of course, there's the, standard things that are part of our agenda. Like, if we provide universal health care, Medicare for all, that would lower the cost of health care all around. It would help our workers everywhere. If we invested in Bernie Sanders' plan to build 14 million affordable housing units by investing $1.5 trillion in housing, we would provide affordable housing for all as well, which would make housing more affordable. If we lower the cost of prescription drugs, that would make prescription drug prices more reasonable in our country. If we also provided universal child care for everyone in America, regardless of whether you live in New York or not, everyone should have child care, and that shouldn't prevent you, especially all the single mothers and single fathers that are out there that have no way of taking care of their families. I think these are all things that are very critical that we have to look at as we move forward. So these are some of the things that I'll be fighting for.
That's wonderful to hear. I appreciate your time, and best of luck with your race, my friend.
Sorry for butchering your name,
Thank you,
Luis.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, you mentioned AI, which is funny
Jarequid,
because our next question actually has to do with that. Jarequid, get up here.
up here. You can just do it on your own. I don't need to bring you up. Do it.
Fine. I thought I was gonna get uppies, but whatever.
No. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
All right.
Introduce yourself, Jarequid.
Yeah, introduce yourself. Who are you?
I'm Jarequid. I'm the Texas state lead. Hello. We are supporting Talarico too, guys. Come on.
I was about to say you got someone else's banner in your camera right now.
Yeah, I got
Yeah, how dare
something else
you?
up there.
You're not triangulating. Are you even really a political operative?
I don't know. My life has been split 50 ways in the past 2 weeks. So I'm not even
I
sure.
don't know how we can
what
get
I'm
one of
doing
these for
anymore.
you. So next time you have one, you have one of these
Add to
signs
the
in your
collection.
background.
I might go
add
up
it
to
to the collection.
Dallas. I might go up to Dallas soon. So I might
Well,
pick
we're
up
gonna get you one of
signs,
these. Yes, for sure.
Go knock some fucking doors, Jarequid.
No, for sure. That's what we're gonna talk about in the state meeting coming up in an hour and 15 minutes.
Ayo.
So one of the things that we did, obviously we didn't just talk to you out of nowhere. We did some preliminary research on you. We wanted to know if you were based and you were cool and you agreed with us and stuff.
Based in red pilled and cool style.
Yes, true. One of the things we found out is that you had you were pretty heavily involved in the tech industry, right? So I guess what I'm curious about is if you could tell me a little bit more about that and what your opinions are on AI regulation and what we could do specifically in that field to make sure that we're not being taken advantage of,
Awesome question. I'm glad you asked it. So, one of the policies that we're trying to pass is called the Digital Bill of Rights. And the first time I told someone about the Digital Bill of Rights, like, well, that's a pretty simple thing. Anyone can digitize the Bill of Rights and put it on the internet. And I was like, that's not what I mean, but nice try. This was obviously a troll on the internet and one of our platforms that was trying to attack our platform. But the reality is, the Digital Bill of Rights is a comprehensive platform that will do something about protecting Americans against what's happening, not only from privacy perspectives, but from the perspective of our data, protecting us from AI. If you look, being in technology for over a decade, I know the secrets of these technology companies. I know what they do to spy on you. I know how they monetize your data, how they own your data, and then what they do with your data. I also know the fact that in Europe, European citizens have way stronger protections than what we have because of a piece of legislation called the GDPR. So when I was working at Microsoft, when I was working at Google, when we were ever working with any customer that had any business in Europe, we had to make all of our things GDPR compliant, which had way better protections for the European consumer. Just like Europe actually has way better meat and better food and better things because they actually have true protections for the European consumer. These are also things I think we should fight for. Is to our quality of our goods should be just as good as they are in Europe. Just like over in Europe, they have free education for universities and trade schools and colleges. We should also have that free education. Just like that, we need to have a system where we have a proper protection for any of your digital items that are there. So that means your data. There needs to be proper privacy protections built in. Whenever you go anywhere within an organization, you need to have certain protections that are built in to anything. Whenever you go to a website, whenever you input any information into ChatGPT or any other AI platform, they shouldn't just take all this information about you and build these profiles. And then we need to protect ourselves against organizations like Palantir, which is literally spying on all of us right now, and then helping organizations like ICE then commit crimes against us. I think that there needs to be a comprehensive digital bill of rights that builds protections on all of this. I have a detailed op-ed that I'm trying to get published. Shokat and I are working on that together. Shokat also, as you know, is a great progressive who you all endorsed as well. And Shokat is someone
Had him
who
on.
also
Yeah.
comes from the tech industry. So we're trying to work with him and get that published together and propose something. As Luis mentioned earlier, together we can, if we get progressives like-minded that understand things like technology, we can get real protections for the Americans and the American consumer. But definitely something
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about since I've spent the last decade or so
Mhm.
in that area.
I have a follow-up question for you as well,
Sure,
actually.
please.
Um, like I also have a bit of a background in tech. My day job,
Awesome.
I'm an electrical engineer. So I
Fantastic.
have some pretty like I have a pretty good idea of how these systems work, just like on the back end side of things.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of ways that these technologies are like useful and do some good stuff and or whatever. But I've kind of come around a little bit, and I want to hear your perspective. Do you
Please.
think that AI technology, especially the AI technology that is being like marketed and distributed for the average consumer, is it even like a redeemable technology? Does it have any actual good uses, or do you think there's like, does it have any redeeming qualities?
Well, I mean, I had just watched this video about someone who talked about a world without technology, a world without AI. What would that look like, and would it be a better quality of life, and things of that nature? I think the reality is that AI, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what side of you are, where you're on it, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But the thing that
Mm.
we need to do is have protections and regulations of AI. I met with someone from the utilities union, and he told me a very important story, which was about the fact that oil power in Texas is a huge industry and obviously employs a lot of people. But the biggest problem with the energy sector that's in Texas specifically is the lack of regulation. And when there is no regulations and there's no government that's stepping on, the government is there to protect the people and protect it from corporations, protect it from other people, protect it from the billionaires, from the oligarchs, which is right now the government is the billionaires and the oligarchs, unfortunately. But regulation is what's going to be there to protect us from the dangers of AI. And that's why AI protections are a fundamental core of the Digital Bill of Rights. This does sort of lead me into another area, which is an area which I've worked in as well, which is data centers. Data
Yeah.
centers are another troubling part of the American economy today. Given where cloud computing is and where we're going with cloud and cloud technologies, I don't know if there's a way forward without data centers. But does that mean we allow what's happening right now to continue? Absolutely not. Am I upset with what's happening with data centers? Absolutely. Having come from that industry and understanding cloud technologies and data center technology, I know that, for instance, Microsoft 20 years ago, or not 20 years ago, about 10 years ago, started investing in clean data center technology. Some of it was underwater, some of it was in other places. There was definitely research done to find better ways to build data centers. When I say better ways, I'm talking about data centers that don't cause 80 plus decibels of noise pollution to communities, specifically targeting communities of color, where they know people are not going to do anything. There's no environment, there's nothing being done to safeguard and protect the communities. Now, if there were regulations on data centers, what could actually happen? Anytime a data center is created, there's an environmental impact study that should be required. That is a fundamental. I would put this as part of my legislation to build regulations on data centers. There should be an entire regulatory arm that's dealing specifically with data centers. Number two, anytime a data center is being created or being built somewhere, there must be a local study. And that local study should deal with actual people that live in that community to understand their concerns to make sure those are being taken into part. Number three, the big data center companies, Microsoft, Google, AWS, or Amazon, they should all be forced to invest large amounts of money into researching clean data center technology. The same thing that Microsoft was doing over a decade ago, but then stopped working on, needs to be picked back up, and it should be not paid for by the tax dollars of the American people. It should be paid for by the big data center companies that are making billions and billions of dollars. I don't know if anyone on here follows stocks at all. I'm someone who's going to be against stock trading for congressional stock trading when I get to Congress, especially given that my opponent, like I mentioned to you earlier, has made $4.2 million from Palantir alone and $47 million from congressional stock trading. I'm against that. But what I do have my phone app that shows me how stocks are doing. And what I've seen is Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all their stocks are at an all-time high. So these companies are making billions and billions and billions of dollars. These are becoming trillion-dollar companies in reality. They should have enough money to set aside to research, to build data centers in a way they don't screw up the environment, they don't destroy our neighborhoods and our communities, and completely mess up the future of our country. There's probably a better way to deal with data centers, and it requires regulation. So just going back to your AI question, I think that AI, unfortunately, is going to be here to stay. Unfortunately, depending on what side of the issue you're on. But regardless of which way it goes, it requires common sense regulations.
All
Yeah.
right. We're running up a bit close on the hour. I guess we should ask, do you want to stay a little longer, or do you have a hard
Yeah.
out?
Do you have a hard out?
I always have time for y'all folks. This is talking with progressives about the issues that matter. That is my favorite part of running for office, and my favorite part of being in Congress, because listening to people and talking about the issues, it's the most important thing. So I have as much time as you need.
Excellent.
All right.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
have more questions. More
I actually have a follow-up. We don't often get
You
to.
have a
I have
follow-up
a
to the
pretty.
follow-up? That's crazy.
I
Also, before
do.
you follow up, I wanted to say thank you, Jeriquid, for being up here because he quietly disappeared.
Uh,
And maybe he was preparing for the statewide meeting or something. Let's give
Yeah, I
him.
think
Let's give him
so.
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's true. I think he's trying to help your staffer get in the server, actually. So
I don't know. Julio's still trying to get in. Maybe, I don't know. He's waving his head no, so I don't know. He's listening in though.
Cool. So one of the things that I personally believe is that I think that politicians should almost act as, modern day philosophers, that it's the job of them to go out, be on the stump, and sort of teach the people about things they don't know or don't understand. And in that vein, I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about exactly what the issues with AI or just regular data centers are in general, because I think that's very under discussed, and it's very powerful to hear something so specific coming from somebody who's running for office, and potentially capable of addressing those issues.
Yeah, no. First off, two things I want to point out about what you just said. I think that we need to move away from a country of politicians. I think politicians should become a dirty word. It should be a bad word. And unfortunately, in our country, we are taught that you should go become a politician, start out as a city council member, become mayor, then become a state house representative member, and then go to Congress and go to Senate and become president someday, as if it's some sort of career path. And along the way, you need to sell out to this person, that person, that person, be sold out to this corporate PAC, that foreign lobby, that special interest group. That is the reality. The politicians that run Congress today have done that. And that pathway, that movement does not work. Somebody the other day was like really excited by something I said. They said, well, we can't wait to support you for Senate or when you decide to run for president. And I told them I'm not interested in running for Senate. And I'm not interested in running for president, even though as an immigrant, I couldn't run for president. I'm only interested in serving District 33. And I'll tell you why I said that. Because people like Colin Allred and Julie Johnson have always moderated their positions and their stances because they think that one day they plan on running for Senate in Texas. And to run for Senate in Texas, you have to moderate your stance and you have to be centrist, blah, blah, blah. My point in saying this is my only interest is the people of District 33. The other point I want to say, part two of this is, if you look at the philosophies of our founding fathers, since we are now going into the pathway of discussing philosophy for just a moment, the founding fathers, when they first thought about how our government would form and what would be the makeup of the initial Congress, it was not supposed to be a professional Congress. It was supposed to be a citizens' assembly, a true assembly where citizens came together, similar to the Greek polis, which allowed people to come together, debate, discuss, have an engaging discourse, and come up with solutions to making America what America was supposed to be. And of course, it has gone in a completely different direction. After Citizens United and what's happened in our country, America's Congress has become who have you been bought by? And unfortunately, if you look at the 7 senators who basically passed Kristi Noem and got her into her position, if you look at the Schumer 8, that got the government shut down to close and stopped all the healthcare advances the Democratic Party was working on. If you look at the people, the 7 congressmen who just recently passed the legislation to support ICE, and then look at how much money they've received from AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby, it's over $1 million. So we need to end the practice of sellouts and career politicians. Now, going back to your question about AI and data centers. Now, data center technology, the reality that folks might not understand about data centers is when it comes to dealing with computing and dealing with the computing power that's needed to power the modern internet, modern technology, the modern solutions that are required to support the modern economic technology, the technology infrastructure for the modern economy, the efficiency of these data centers is extremely better than traditional data centers that were in place. One thing that folks don't realize is data centers have always been there. They just haven't had these massive sizes of data centers that are now required for cloud computing. The reality, though, is these data centers that existed in the past were also bad from a pollution perspective. They were just like little small data centers all over the place that were causing the same issue. And by the way, from a power utilization perspective, PUE, they were way more, they were using way more energy from the grid. They were way less effective, way less efficient. So yes, data centers have improved the efficiency of our usage of power and uses of resources as a civilization. However, the problem is because there's a complete lack of any regulation. By the way, one of the reasons why you should easily see this is go watch the video of Donald Trump meeting with the tech executives, and you'll see why each and every one of them is doing everything they can to brown nose and kiss up to him and do everything else, is because he's literally let them have all the data center technology they want without having any regulation on it at all. That should tell you why there's absolutely zero regulations on data centers. Now, if we had people that were actually, and by the way, the average age of a congressperson, how old are they? I'm probably older than
the average age. I think it's like
136.
Yeah.
Did somebody say 136?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
probably right.
you know, checking the papers, I think
I like
if
you get elected, you'll bring down the average age by at least 40 years.
Well, I mean, I love that you guys are counting me with the younger folks. I will say, even me not being the youngest person on this call, I would still be one of the youngest people in all of Congress. I will actually be one of the people that actually grew up using technology. I'll be someone who actually grew up in the internet age, that knows about all the things that actually affect technology policy. The average congressperson has no clue. Some of them don't even know how to use their phones. A smartphone. So,
Yeah,
like,
some of them get
let's be
lost
real.
trying to use a rotary phone.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the reality of it. And so that is the lack of complete understanding of technology. If you have zero understanding of technology, how do you expect anyone to help you create a policy that's actually going to properly regulate technology? Now, AI, the dangers of AI, we could do an entire podcast just on the dangers of AI. And someone who's worked very deeply and closely with AI can tell you there's a lot of great things that AI does. There's also a lot of dangerous things that AI does. Um, Now, obviously, there's the fact that AI has become so powerful so quickly. It is quite alarming. But there are a lot of things that we can do to deal with what AI is doing to our economy, it's doing to our society, it's doing to our people. Individual protections need to be made to protect ourselves from the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, the Claudes of the world. They are literally, even though you sign up this and this, they're capturing all the information that you provide them. They're building user profiles with detailed information that they could share with the government or anyone else and provide that information and build profiles on you. I think this is something that's very troubling and very alarming to me as an individual consumer. I don't want the government to have that level of information about everything that I'm having a conversation about with one of these platforms. I think there needs to be real serious privacy constraints put into this. But that's just one touch of AI. There are other things about AI, like I mentioned earlier, lowering the work week because of the efficiencies that AI creates. So yes, there's something good that comes from AI. It makes workers more productive. That doesn't mean you fire 1/4 of your workforce. That means you lower the work week and keep all the workers and just pay them the right amount. You guys can afford to do it because you're making so much money off of the gains from AI benefits. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, we can also look at what's happening with, I'm not, saying that we need to worry about what happened on Terminator or some of those other apocalyptic movies and where AI takes over the world and does all these things. I think there does need to be some specific regulations and there needs to start to be research done on the future impact of what AI could have on government, on education, on intelligence, on privacy, on everything. There needs to be detailed research done on all of this. That's commissioned by bipartisan organizations that are very looking at it from a very much of an educational perspective, so we can build policies to protect us from what AI could become. Because to be honest, not everyone understands all the realistic possibilities of where AI could affect us in all these different areas. So, long story short, you do more work, you do more regulation, when you do more research. And that's what I would be advocating for when I get to Congress. And I would hopefully join people like Shokat to lead the force there because we've worked in the technology sector. But also, if a lot of the younger folks that are running for Congress as progressives got elected, they would have a lot more information and knowledge about technology than the people that are there today. And a lot of those
Yeah.
people you guys have already endorsed.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny, I think about earlier in the AI, like what I think is a bubble, and I just remember people talking about like, oh, but what if you get Terminator? What if you get all these things? And it's like,
That's not how that works.
I,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of wild to me that in a way some of the people were right that AI could destroy the world, but it was less they're gonna come sentient and kill us, and more there's gonna be child porn on the timeline that will destroy everyone's mental health. And it's like I didn't see it coming that way, but I guess I do have a conspiracy theory that part of the reason that they push vibe coding so much is that they're trying to decentralize corporate espionage and to try and get every coder to upload their code for every single different app. Um,
Well,
but that's just the voice inside my head going.
Benjamin, I don't think you're too far away. I mean, GitHub, which was the largest repository of open source code, was purchased by Microsoft, and Microsoft then took
Jesus.
over all of that
It's
code. I don't
bad.
think you realize it. It was the largest repository of open source code, and everyone was going to GitHub because, hey, this great resource to share open coding. Guess what? Microsoft bought it. They bought all that code and they have access to it all. So once again, did anyone regulate it? Fortunately,
Yeah,
not.
that's not
And
great.
regulation is what needed. Yes. So sorry to if you didn't know this, but yes. But the fact of the matter is, the average congressperson, probably the average person, doesn't even realize all those things. You'd have to be in tech and really be deeply into tech to know all the dangers and what's happened and what could happen and what we can do to prevent what could happen from happening. And that's the reality.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
Benjamin, this guy's pretty good. He's so thorough. He answered like every single part of your question extremely thoroughly. It was really great.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
I
Yeah,
kind
that's
of I
rare.
kind of like this guy. I think we should support him.
Yeah.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. You all can go to my website, zeeshanfortexas.com, and support me there and get involved, contribute, participate in the campaign.
Mhm.
We're a true people powered movement. I mean, at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, we are people power. We are progressives that believe that the establishment machine of, TV. By the way, my two opponents, this is kind of funny. Julie Johnson, but neither of them live in the district, by the way. They both are sort of carpetbaggers that came in to try to take advantage of the gerrymandering that happened. Julie Johnson joined the race 2 days before the filing deadline of December 8th, or actually 3 days, because December 8th was a Monday. I joined the race back in August, and I was running against someone else. The guy I'm running against resigned. He retired for some reason. And that's when Julie Johnson jumped in. Colin Allred joined the race on the 8th because Jasmine Crockett decided to run for Senate. Now, the funny part about this is on December 9th, Julie Johnson launched her first attack ad on Colin Allred. And that ad mostly went to the establishment and super voters, the people that traditionally vote for establishment Democrats. On December 10th, Colin Allred bought his first attack ad on Julie Johnson, attacking her for the same things, going after those same establishment voters. So we have a very unique district here in Texas, a very blue district, one of the last blue districts that's in northern Texas, where we have two super powerful, I wouldn't say super powerful, but super well funded establishment Democrats and one progressive. They're going after the same people. They're sending their negative ads to the same people, and we're sending a very broadly progressive, positive message focused on solutions. Same solutions that you all have in your victory pledge, and the same issues that progressives are fighting for all across the country.
All right. Well, we have another audience question for you.
Sounds good.
This one,
Yeah, we have 3 more, so to save you time, you want to lightning round it?
yeah, let's lightning
We
round it a
we
little
can
bit.
do whatever you want. I'm here. My time is your time right now. I blocked off my calendar.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, this one comes from Fox King the Great, who is from Texas. Unfortunately, they're not a dues-paying member, so we're going to read this for them.
No problem.
What are the trophies
Become a
behind you for?
dues-paying member. Become a
To
dues-paying
become a
member.
dues-paying
Come on.
member,
You get the
uh,
card.
you do get the card. I don't
Jenny,
have the
how much is the dues?
$5 a month.
$5.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right, let's go. What's the
You
question?
should become a
Fox
dues-paying
King the-
member. We got to pitch
do
everybody.
it.
That's organizing.
We got
Yeah,
everybody's got to do it.
absolutely.
Fox King the Great asks, "What are the trophies behind you for? I see some sports stuff, but I wonder some more details about it."
Great question. This is something I'm sort of proud of. This is so I've been a coach coaching in our community for over 15 seasons in the YMCA. That trophy right there, that's my commissioner trophy. I created a volleyball league for people that can no longer play basketball and football and other sports because we're too old. And so we have a league here in Valley Ranch. We've run about 6 seasons of it, and after I think the 5th or 4th season, because I was the commissioner, they gave me this beloved commissioner trophy. A lot of those other trophies are for my kids because a lot of their teams have won various championships. And then I also have been running speech and debate camps for quite a few years, free camps. All the stuff that I do it as a volunteer. I do it because I love coaching. I love investing in our community. I want to see our youth get better. I also create a platform called Career Network. That platform is dedicated to advancing people through mentorship and investing in their careers. There's no trophy there, but it's just another area where I've spent time coaching and developing our future. I think it's something that I'm very passionate about. And although a lot of these trophies belong to my sons, I take a little bit of ownership.
You get to
because
take a
it's
little
out
bit of
there.
pride in that.
A little bit of credit. That's it. It's mostly
Yeah.
them though, but it's something I'm very, very proud of is coaching these kids.
That's really, really, really cool. All right,
Thanks.
Benjamin, what's your next one?
All right, next question is from Kelfi, also not a Deuce Peg member, -2. Additionally, would you support or help pilot pushes for complete prison reform and the legal slavery enabled by it? It would go a long way to preventing Republicans from infringing on civil rights and weaponizing the same prison system against us.
I think there's a lot of things that we could unpack there. First off, we need to end for-profit detention centers, okay? And the system of slavery you're describing, I would describe it as exactly what you described. Why are these people being paid subliminal wages to do this work? Right now with ICE, there's actually people that are doing work that aren't even criminals that are just being required to do work as slaves, essentially. I believe in the $20 to $25 minimum wage. I say 20 to 25 because my cards say 20, but I'm signing on to the pledge, which is 25. My point is that whatever that minimum wage is, that should be the wage that's paid to anyone that's in any sort of prison that's required to do labor. And there's a lot of things that could be done with these wages. I know certain people have, they have rulings against them. Maybe they committed some sort of crime or some sort of offense, which has something that requires restitution. Well, that money could go directly to paying for that restitution, so they're actually able to do that. Some of these people might have things like child support that they could do to support their kids while they're in prison. Some of these people could actually have a fund so that when they get out of college, or sorry, when they get out of prison, they could go to college. And if they can't go to a free public college at the time, they would at least be able to pay for their education or invest in themselves in some way. Maybe, if they were making, this minimum wage, living wage of, let's say it was $25 an hour, and they were in prison for 5 years, they could come out with this money set aside for them, which, by the way, if it was in some sort of fund that's like a 401k or something, 5 years later, that money could help them actually, have a future. They could come out and invest that money. The
But what about the
purpose of prison.
recidivism? How are they going to fill those prison slots if
We
they're not
have
poor?
to fill the prisons, otherwise they don't make money.
Well, that's the problem. Our
The
prison
prison's
system.
full. We got to build another one.
Prisons should not be there to fill prisons up and use them for slave labor. And it'll be interesting also to see how the criminal justice system is reformed once once corporations aren't just making money off of prisoners. See how term limits change. See how the term limit guidelines change. See how our prosecutions change. See how decriminalization occurs. See what happens with, like obviously marijuana should be decriminalized, but also what about the people that are quote unquote these offenders who have all these, they're having to deal with sentences because of things that shouldn't actually be crimes. These things could all be fixed very easily once the prisons realize that they cannot utilize these folks as slave laborers. So there's a lot of things that need to be unpacked here, a lot of changes and reforms that need to be made to the entire judicial system. One thing I will say that's even needs to go further is the people that we need to be putting into these prisons. You said, how are we going to fill the prisons? Well, we have this entire thing called ICE.
I like where
We
this
have
is
these
going.
ICE agents that are literal criminals, and they've
We also
only
have a lot
received
of pedophiles running
immunity.
around right now.
Well, there is, and so
Some of them
the
in
problem
ICE.
is that yes. Well, the fact is, if I was actually on a fireside chat with Reverend Haynes, who I mentioned to you all earlier, who's running in District 30, and we were talking about ICE, and it was after what happened recently. This was, I think, the second or third time when someone had been assassinated and murdered by ICE in cold blood. We talked about the modern day slave riders, and what basically happened with the slave riders was that these people were hired by the government. They were literally taken from the Ku Klux Klan. They were deputized. They were given weapons, and they were told to prosecute black people. This was during slavery, after slavery, during Jim Crow. It basically weaponized white supremacy, and that's the same thing that's happening now. And the fact of the matter is, yes, there's certain ICE agents that have murdered people. They need to be prosecuted. There is multiple cases now that are coming out of people that are raping women in these ICE detention centers, and only a few of them have been prosecuted so far. There's some more people you can fill your prison with. And then there's all the other ICE agents that might have committed less not maybe they didn't kill someone or rape someone, but they brutalized someone. They beat
Took someone
someone
from their
back.
family. Yeah.
They took someone from not only took from this one, but they usually when they take you from their family, they will beat the heck out of you just for the purpose of taking out whatever horrible thing that they have in their head. I think there's two things that we need to do with these ICE agents. One, we need to prosecute them. And then I think the second part of it is we need to give them some mental health coverage because I think there's a major mental health crisis in this country. That is what's leading to this extremism, this white supremacy, this attacks on people. It comes from a complete mental imbalance that's being untreated in this country. There's a mental health pandemic that I would say is happening in this country that's leading to the horrible perpetration of all these crimes by these ICE agents. So ICE agents themselves, and by the way, I would not even just stop at ICE agents. I think we need to repeal qualified immunity and stop. That means qualified immunity for any police officer. So if you are a police officer in this country and you commit a crime, while you're you wearing a uniform, a lot of times you're given qualified immunity and you don't have to pay the price. That goes back to George Floyd and the start of the Black Lives Matter movement. The same things that this country has been getting worse and worse down this stage over the many years for those who have been paying attention. I think we need to end all qualified immunity. So if you're a police officer and you kill someone or you beat someone brutally or you do something wrong, one, whether you're an ICE agent or a police officer, there needs to be a body cam on you so we can actually have some accountability. But two,
That's
if you
recording.
commit that, yes, that is recording. And number two,
No
if
off
you do commit
button.
a crime, no off button. If you commit a crime, you need to be properly prosecuted by the government and by the judicial system. And then if they decide your crime requires you to go to jail, you should go to jail. By the way, if you want some more folks, go take Trump and all of his cronies who have literally committed treason against our country. I'm pretty sure if you commit treason, you can get imprisoned for that. So we can fill up our prison system with plenty of corrupt political officials, people from the Trump administration, people from ICE, and other people who have been violating our civil rights and civil liberties and literally destroying our American democracy. And by the way, you should not allow people to be pardoned for January 6th. Because guess what that means? That means that then they can now think that when January 6th happens again in a couple of years,
Dude,
once Donald Trump loses, oh, well, guess what? Everyone got pardoned last time. Let's get that only emblazons more to go after it again. So we need to do something about that as well. But yes, there are plenty of ways to refill those prisons with people who actually deserve to be there. But even if those people do go there, these prisons are set up for restitution. They're supposed to improve these people and then give them a pathway to be a normal member of society. And a lot of that goes to mental health. A lot of that goes to actual retraining, and a lot of that goes to actually investing in fixing the problem. And the reality is, we as progressives care about fixing the problem, finding solutions, rather than just saying, hey, we're the party of anti-Trump and we're the party of this and that. We are trying to come up with real solutions to make this country better. And that's why it's so important for progressives to fight hard now more than ever.
Well, only if
I have a
candidates like
follow-up.
you win, because there are some that aren't.
Yeah.
There are some Democrats who are we're the party of not Trump. Meanwhile, we still
Yeah.
like going to the parties.
Yeah.
Jenny,
I
you
do
were
have
going to
a
ask
follow-up
something?
question for you.
Please.
One of the things that you mentioned was that there's a mental health epidemic in the United States and just kind of like around the world generally. It's not great.
Incel to ICE pipeline.
It's
Believe was-
true. But my question for you is, there's a lot of reasons why mental health can be bad for a lot of different people. What is the number one reason that you think mental health has been declining in the United States in the last couple of years, especially?
And why is it
There's a one-
vaccines?
No.
I was going to say technology. I think technology has
Mm.
changed the world. It has changed the way that we communicate with people. It has led to isolation. It has led to less human contact. It has led to less of the things that make us human. It has dehumanized people in many ways. It has made people act in completely different ways. I don't think people would act the way they act today 30 years ago. Like The trolling that happens on the internet is now being seen in reality. The way people are acting on the internet is the way they're acting in reality. Literally, brains are being reformulated. They're being redesigned based off of technology. So I think technology in many ways has rewired the way that people act. It has rewired the way that our brains function. And we have to find a way to do something about this, because the reality is there's still a major stigma with mental health all across the country. And the only way to solve this is by providing, one, free healthcare, and number two, part of that free healthcare has to be free mental health care. People are afraid to get mental health and mental support. People still get stigmatized for going and get mental health and mental health support. But I think it's something that we need to change right away. We need to not only invest in Medicare for all and child care for all and lowering prescription drugs, but we need to really invest in providing easy solutions for people to get therapy and people to get the support they need. If we provided proper mental health for our American population, we would see a world that would be completely different. A world where there would be less violence, a world where there would be less crime, a world where there would be less hurt and less harm and less pain. It would be a completely different world where we lived in. But right now, because of technology and so many different other factors outside of technology, mental health is destroying our society, is destroying our country, it's destroying the way that we interact with each other. And so the only solution is by investing heavily in mental health and making sure that it's not something that has a major negative impact on people tied to it. So I think that there's things that we can do, but it's going to take a major investment from our community in mental health care, but also re-education on the fact that getting mental health and getting help is not bad. It's not stigmatized. It's helpful. A lot of the people that are, these ICE agents, these white supremacists, they're too bold, or the machismos, that they don't believe that they even have a mental health crisis or mental health issue to deal with. But the reality is that's the only thing I can think of that would cause them to act so brutally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that, I mean, that's obviously like a valid perspective. I'm curious, or maybe not necessarily curious. I don't know. I as someone who one my job in Progressive Victory is to motivate people and bring them from kind of despair and bring them from the kind of l-
Lead the
feel.
mentally ill masses.
Yeah, where the idea is that we want to take the people who are disaffected and feel like it's hopeless and bring them and give them a place where they can actually affect change and have a community. I'm yeah, I don't know. Technology is definitely like a spearheading factor, but I would also posit that it's potentially just like Benjamin kind of implied a little while ago. uh, There's an element of just kind of a philosophical decay, if you will. Like we there's no future anymore. People don't believe in the concept of things getting better. People don't believe in the concept of things improving because nothing is happening. Nobody's actually wanting to do things, which is why it's very cool that you have like an actual platform of policies that you
The
can look at
sheet.
your platform and see that you got the sheet. You can say, "Hey, these are the things that I can do to make your life better right now. If you vote for me, I will try to make them happen."
No, I
I think
think,
that's a hugely valuable thing to be doing. And
Jenny, one thing I would add is to that is technologies like AI, like you were saying, AI, it can be good, it can be bad. Technology can be good, it
mhm,
can be bad. To your point, technology is massively powerful in the way that we can organize and get the vote out and get people to get involved. I'd mentioned the Reach app that we use. Anyone can do relational organizing and text people that they might know in the district. Anyone can make phone calls today. People can text anyone that they want today. People can send emails and engage with people to get them involved in the political process. The many technology tools that are out there to make organizing easier are fantastic. So there are a lot of great things that technology can do. But to your point, technology is a double-edged sword. It has good things about it and bad things about it as well. And we have to obviously take the good with the bad. But to your point, I think everyone should have hope. And I think
mhm.
there are people in certain parts of the country that have a lot of hope. I think if you live in New York City right now, you're probably one of those people that has a tremendous amount of hope, because you literally just saw in front of your eyes a campaign where a candidate who no one said had a path to victory, who was polling at
Polling
1%
at
a year
1%. Yep.
before the election. and who came out and said things that were so different, that were so, usually when people say these sorts of things, it reminded me of when Bernie Sanders ran for president in 2015. And he was saying things that for me as a disillusioned Democrat, I was just so happy and so excited and so motivated and so hopeful. And then, of course, I was crushed by when the Democratic establishment stole the election from him. And then they did the same thing in 2020. But then here it is, Zoran Mamdani, this person who's running on principle, who's
Third
running on
time's a
important
charm.
values. This guy comes in and he goes into the city of New York against probably one of the most powerful political families and political individuals in all of New York politics, who was backed by the billionaires and the corporations, who was being outspent at least 10 to 1.
And
And he
blows them out
comes
of the
in.
fucking water.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's not the only race where this happened. I want to tell you guys about a story about a guy named Taylor Amet who just won his state Senate seat
Yeah, we
here
endorsed
in
him.
Texas.
We've
plus
been talking about
literally a plus 20 Republican seat that just got flipped. Just got flipped. Plus 20 Republicans. Plus 20. He won that seat just now. Obviously, we had Christian McAfee who won as well in Texas. We are seeing progress happen in front of our eyes. There's races all across the country where progressives are emboldened after what they saw in the 2025 election. And this is going to be a huge progressive blue agenda where a progressive blue wave where your people that are members of Progressive Victory can make a huge difference. If you can't get involved in my campaign, get involved with Progressive Victory to go get involved in another campaign. There are so many winnable races if we try. This is hope. This is progress. This is the opportunity. Yes, there are a lot of reasons to feel sad. There's a lot of reasons to feel disillusioned. There's a lot of reasons to feel unhopeful with Donald Trump and his march towards authoritarianism and his attacks on our fundamentals of our democracy. But at the same time, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of good people out there. People like Luis, who's on this call, who's running for office in Utah. So if you're in Utah, you can go out there and canvass for him. There's people like Shokat that I mentioned to earlier in California. If you're there, you can get involved. But even if you don't have a progressive candidate near you, you can phone bank for one of us. You can contribute to one of us. You can even come fly down and canvass for us. That's what we're doing. It's a people-powered movement. We will take on anyone that wants to see progress in this country. And I think that every day, as I talk to the voters and we talk to them about the issues, they get excited, they get inspired, and they get hope because they see, hey, there is someone out here that actually is standing for something. And these things are things that matter to me and you. And by the way, this is the thing that I think might be surprising to some of the people that are paying attention here. A lot of people that I talk to door, because when I go to my community, I don't just go to Democratic households. I go to any household. And I go to Republicans and I talk to them about my agenda. And I tell them, and they're like, there are certain things on your agenda that I disagree with. But a lot of things that you're talking about in your agenda, they give me hope. These are things that we need as a country. So even though I'm a Republican and I've only voted Democrat once or twice, I will support you because even though I don't agree with the issues you're standing on, at least you're standing for something.
Yep.
At least you have some integrity to tell me you stand for these policies and these solutions, and you're not just coming out here as the opposite to Trump. That is not what we need right now. We don't need corporatist Democrats, centrists. We need people that are bold progressives. And we have amazing time because this is the one time in American history where our country is descending into chaos. But at the same time, we have all these opportunities to get involved in great progressive campaigns through great progressive candidates. And part of that is thanks to the great work that the Progressive Victory group is doing to help recruit, organize these candidates, and put them on the same thing with the Progressive Victory Pledge.
Incredible. We love a message of hope. We love a message of inspiration. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, and most importantly, we love a message of going to bed because we are over time.
We are in fact
Thank
over
you
time.
so
However,
much.
I do have one final question for you.
A final question.
Well, this is
It's the bonus
the final question for real.
Okay.
So
until she comes up with another one.
No, Ever since we did a big candidate panel and convention a couple weeks ago, the community's been abuzz. Our community's been very interested to know every single politician's take on this.
Oh, don't do it. Oh God, kill me now, kill me now. Okay.
What's my take on what, Jenny? Let's do it.
Let me find the exact phrase. This was initially asked by Jesse, the main state lead, but it's also being asked by everybody.
Okay.
We are single issue voters here.
Sure.
Are you, congressional candidate Zeeshan Hafeez, a goopocrat or a crunch-servative? I.e., do you take your cereal goopy or milky, or goopy or crunchy?
Oh, okay. Oh, crunchy, of course. I don't like to get my cereal to be milked. To be honest, if I'm going to get in trouble for answering this question. I actually stopped eating cereal. The reason why I stopped eating cereal is because my digital director, Carlos Martinez, who, by the way, was the digital director for Bernie Sanders' Hispanic outreach campaign, Carlos has explained to me the dangers of cereal. Apparently, the cereal industry in this country has been poisoning people and providing very lack of nutrition to people through
Real
the cereal.
sugary, yeah.
Very sugary, and also like apparently there was some studies done with rats where people that ate the cereal boxes ate the cereal boxes were healthier than the rats that ate cereal, and somehow that caused them to die. Now I don't know all the details about this, but every time I talk about cereal, Carlos has scared me straight. So I personally have not been eating cereal of late. I do like cereal. I will admit that I do like cereal, and when I do eat cereal, I try to eat the cereal when it's crunchy and not, milked down or watered down, whatever you want to call it.
That's
But
good.
apparently,
That's good.
cereal has dangers, so I would encourage folks to look that up
Mhm.
and to do their research there. I didn't know about it myself until Carlos told me about it. But I'm hoping Carlos will listen to this because it'll bring a smile to his face, and he will finally see that I'm listening to something that he says, and
At the
hopefully
very
that'll make
least,
him happy.
at the
At the very
very
least,
least, at the
yes.
very least, you are not like Annalena Mejia, who's running for New Jersey 11th, I believe. Yes, New
Okay.
Jersey 11th.
Yeah.
She likes to microwave the milk before putting it in the cereal, and she admitted that on camera.
Well, I think there might be some cereals where they like I wouldn't say cereals. There's actually a thing called Weetabix. I think it's made in England or something, but it's like these wheat wafers. It's supposed to be pretty healthy, but apparently they you can eat them cold or warm. And I think there's, I guess, like if you're eating oatmeal or you know. Steel oats or whatever. I think sometimes people warm that up, so maybe that would give an excuse for. I'm trying to come up with excuses for, because I like her. I want her to win, I guess. She's another progressive. So we got to come
Mhm.
up with excuses for our progressive compatriots. Last thing I'll say is this. If you all like what you hear today, please visit my website, zeeshanfortexas.com. It's ZeeShanfor Texas.com. You can follow us on social media. Please check us out. We've got some cool content out there. You all will see our awesome Progressive Victory Pledge video, which I think is pretty cool. You can find it. Our handle is the same across every social media channel. It's at Zeeshan for Texas, including Upscrolled. We're on Upscrolled as well now, so you can check us out there. And I encourage everyone to join Upscrolled. By the way, for folks that don't know, it's the latest social media platform. It was founded by some pro-Gaza folks, Palestinians, who when TikTok sort of has gone
Killed
into a
itself.
dark side. Yes, yes. So that is an opportunity for you all to follow us there. We need time, talent, and treasure more than anything else right now. We're in our final, like 2 weeks before the early voting.
Mhm.
So if you can phone bank for us, phone bank. If you can canvass for us in Dallas, canvass for us. If you can come out and donate for us, donate. Early voting starts on February 17th. It goes until February 27th. The election is March 3rd. We're the first in the nation primary. So really would love each and every one for you to get involved. My email address for anyone that wants to reach out to me, it is Zeeshan@ZeeshanforTexas.com. And my deputy, who tried his best throughout the entire call, he's literally sitting right here. He has been trying desperately to get into Discord. His email address is Julio, Julio, at ZeeshanforTexas.com. We'd love to get you guys involved. We'd love to answer any other questions you might have about the campaign. And overall, I think Julio and I have really enjoyed this conversation. He's giving me a thumbs up, even though he's been
Mhm.
standing right there, desperately trying to get in. He has just
And
been listening on the side, and we really enjoyed this conversation with you all. This was amazing. I love the work that you all do, creating this
Mhm.
great space for the community. One ask I have for everyone is please please, please do what you can to support this organization. If you don't want to become a member, just contribute something to the organization right now. But the thing that you can do more than just give your money is to recruit more people to Progressive Victory. We were actually on a call earlier today with Progressive Democrats of America, where we were featured today on their platform, and I told them the same exact thing. It's just, please join this organization and get more people to join. I think the fact is a lot of people don't realize they're progressives. There's probably a lot of closet progressives out there, and we need to get them out of the closet. We need to help them understand that they are progressives too. The issues that we stand for are the issues that matter to you. Our populism is going to make your country better. So introduce your friends to what we stand for. Progressive Victory Pledge. It's amazing. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Show them it. Tell them how amazing it is. Get them excited. Get people hopeful. Get people some energy and get them on this call. Get them to join this Discord group and get them involved in this organization. Get them to donate, become members. This is the way we make progress in future. It's not just ourselves. We're probably in an echo chamber right now where we agree on all these things. But the fact is, when we get more people and expand the electorate, because that's what I'm doing here in Dallas, expand the electorate to people who have not been involved in politics, but are sick and tired of ICE abducting people off the street, killing people on the street, killing people in detention centers. They're sick and tired of Donald Trump's march towards authoritarianism. They're sick and tired of the corruption. They're sick and tired of the billionaires. They're sick and tired of the establishment. They're sick and tired of the genocide that's happening in Gaza with billions and billions of our dollars. They're sick and tired of AIPAC controlling our government. All these people that say they're upset about these things say, hey, now let's go do something about it. Instead of complaining about it on the internet all day, join Progressive Victory. Get involved. Show up. Be a part of this. And if more people participate, we can save the American democracy. But this is a time where you have to tell people, if you do not wake up now, there might not be anything left to wake up to tomorrow. So please, please, please wake up, get involved, get energized. Let's go help get some progressives elected to Congress and elected all across this country.
You heard the man. Get woke, stay woke, donate to Progressive Victory. Thank you once again for joining us.
In that order.
Zeeshan. Yeah, do that. Get woke, stay woke, donate to Progressive Victory. Thank you once again, Zeeshan, for joining us.
My
and
pleasure.
thank you everybody in the Discord for joining us as well. Have a great rest of your night and good luck on your campaign. We'll be cheering you on.
Thank you. I hope to see a lot of you as part of the campaign team.
Yeah.